Hello, my name is Eric Miller. I'm a technical consultant with Intellius, and today what I want to talk about is how we can leverage the delivered functionality within the Infor transition management module to require sign off and review of items within the system, as well as require employees to provide additional information and complete additional tasks on a recurring basis. To give a little background and context, the transition management module within Infor is typically leveraged for four different things within the system: completing pre-boarding tasks, uh, items that must be completed by a prospective employee before they are formally hired with the organization, things like collecting an SSN, date of birth, that sort of information that you may not collect at the application process. The second item is onboarding, so requiring once an employee has been hired ahead of their first day for them to provide things like their direct deposit information, W-4 information, I-9 information, so on and so forth. The third use case is typically cross-boarding. So if I am going from one position to another, what are the tasks that I must go through in order to complete that move? And finally is offboarding. Offboarding is I'm leaving the organization. What are the tasks that need to be completed before I can leave the organization? Is it returning property, filling out certain forms, things like that within the system? So while the transition management module can be leveraged for that, it can also be leveraged for recurring data entry tasks and reviewing information within the system on a recurring basis for existing employees. One example of this is with the recent legislature for the California Know Your Rights Act. Organizations that have employees that work in California are required to do two things. One, present them with their rights and ensure that those are read on a yearly basis, as well as collecting information around emergency contacts. Can these specific emergency contacts be contacted if I am arrested while at work? As part of this, what we've done is built out a transition management program that can be assigned to employees within the system on a recurring basis within transition management. So I am going to act like I am Roger Kresge here and go through my transition program. When initially presented with the transition program, the first thing I must do is review and read the California Workplace Know Your Rights information. Before I am able to proceed on within this transition program, I must acknowledge that this has been read here. So I can say, I acknowledge that I've read the above and know my rights. I agree, and I enter my name. Once I've acknowledged that I have read my rights, I am also able to come in and either update or provide my emergency contact information. So up to 5 different emergency contacts can be updated here. I can also denote if I am authorizing my employer to contact them in case of arrest or detention. I can go ahead and come in and say, yep, I will allow you to contact Eric Miller in case of my arrest or detention, as well as my test sibling. Once I go ahead and want to complete this, I must acknowledge that I have completed my emergency contacts before I am able to move on. So I will again come in and acknowledge this within the system. Once I have completed the above and I am able to complete my transition program, it is marked as completed within the system. The benefit of leveraging something like a resource transition program is there's delivered functionality to track the completion information, when this was completed, due dates, things like that within the system, all delivered out of the box with the delivered application. So this is made up of a transition program, the Know Your Rights and Emergency Contact designation, as well as a couple of tasks, right? Our transition program is comprised of tasks within the system. The first task is a very simple one. It's the Know Your Rights Notice PDF type task. It allows you to upload a PDF to the system and require acknowledgement and that they sign off that they have acknowledged this item. This can be very helpful if there are things within your organization that an employee must read, review, and sign off on a yearly basis. The other piece of this is our emergency contact form. This is made up of a transition form with very basic information, which is then referenced within a transition task where we can define things like the acknowledgement text, if it's required to acknowledge, so on and so forth. Ultimately, with all of this delivered functionality, we are able to, on a recurring or yearly basis, leverage transition management for these types of tasks. We've worked with organizations that require employees to sign off on their job descriptions on a yearly basis, require them to read and review annual notifications. These are items that we can build in to the Infor transition management module by leveraging all of this delivered functionality and pull that into the application to allow for a unified viewpoint into an employee's profile, ensuring that they have completed all of the, quote unquote, yearly tasks that they may need to complete, so on and so forth. This is one of those unique and quote unquote unconventional ways to leverage transition management, but something that the system allows for and we can set up very easily. If you have any questions about the Infor transition management module, feel free to reach out to Intellius. We are, very well versed within the Infor transition management module, as well as all of the other Infor modules. Thank you.